Welcome to the Morning Edition Extra. I'm Adelmi Ruiz, coming to you from Alaska's News Sources digital desk this Tuesday morning. Thank you so much for starting off your morning with Alaska's News Source. Starting us off for the Morning Edition Extra, we have meteorologist Aaron Morrison, who's going to give us a breakdown over what our day is going to look like. Aaron.
We continue to hold on to some of those cold conditions across the state. Now, one area of Alaska where we are seeing the warmest conditions is out towards Ketchikan. And this is where we continue to hold on to some rain in the forecast. You can see the tide rising and falling off in the distance through the overnight hours with that time lapse. Rain continues to fall through our southern parts of the Panhandle, and you can see fog also leading to some lowering visibility at times this morning. So out towards Ketchikan, rain. As you head north of Ketchikan, this is where we're seeing more in the way of heavy snowfall. And that rain-snow line that we're seeing is just south of Sitka. Now, Sitka did just see within the last about 5 minutes that winter weather advisory expiring. With that said, we are still going to hold on to some of that snowfall in the forecast. Winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories shaded within purple. Those continue throughout the day and into tomorrow, particularly for the winter storm warning, which continues until noon tomorrow for 10 to 13 inches of snow accumulation with gusts to 40 miles per hour. That winter weather advisory, again, Sitka, that weather advisory did just expire for you, but that continues until 3 p.m. today for 2 to 10 inches of snow accumulation. Now, that will be total amounts since the winter weather advisory has been issued. So rain to the south, snow to the north. That will kind of lighten up into the evening hours. We'll see some dry breaks. Notice that rain-snow line lifting north. So we'll see that steady drift northward of that rain-snow line. So sometime between Wednesday evening and Thursday, we'll begin to see some rain snow building into parts of Juneau and surrounding locations. Into our Thursday, we'll see some dry breaks, and then another system builds in on the backside of that as the weekend arrives, and this will lead to more rain and snow in the forecast. Now, when it comes to the snowfall potential, we will again pick up several inches of snow accumulation, where we could see locations to the north picking up about 5 to 10 plus inches of snow accumulation. Areas to the south where you're seeing those lower snowfall totals, this is where we'll largely see rain sticking around in the forecast. So from Ketchikan out towards Craig and Sitka, while we are going to see a slight chance for some wintry mix, primarily expect to see widespread rain sticking around. And this is where we could pick up about 1 to 2 inches of that rainfall accumulation. Of course, Petersburg and out towards Hyder, we'll see more in the way of a snow, if not a snow-rain mix. So we will still see some areas of the southern panhandle where we are going to hold on to at least some chances for some snow. There's that snow in the panhandle for Juneau, staying with us through Wednesday, and then sometime between Wednesday night and Thursday, we'll see that transition to rain and snow. All rain by Friday with temperatures in the 40s. Remember to set those clocks forward this weekend. You can see Saturday and Sunday highs sitting in the mid to upper 30s.
All right, thank you, Aaron, and thank you for that reminder to set our clocks. And they say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Joe Allgood tells us that bus drivers for the Mat-Su School District are hoping that's true as they began a strike on Monday morning.
Here in the Mat-Su, bus drivers are picketing along the park's highway for better working conditions. One of their biggest concerns is that there simply aren't enough buses.
We have been negotiating since June of 2025. We've made every effort to move this negotiations forward in a productive way, and obviously we've been unsuccessful.
Local Teamsters 959 said it's been a month without meeting at the negotiating table. And after the union's contract with Durham School Services expired at the beginning of February, drivers are demanding better working conditions.
We need the district to vigorously enforce their contract.
Citing concerns like wages, the high cost of required health screenings, and most of all, fleet readiness.
We've had a number of days since January where we haven't had enough buses to run all the routes. We've got drivers ready to go. We don't have the buses.
Buses failing brake inspections, the drivers say, or seats burning due to faulty wiring. Those are just a few of the problems.
We've got safety concerns with the buses.
So for the foreseeable future,
we understand that it's frustrating for the families of the Mat-Su Valley, and it's something that it's frustrating for us. It's frustrating for our members, the employees of Durham. But the fact of the matter is that the community and the families of the Mat-Su Valley deserve better from their school bus provider.
Who are we? Teamsters! Who are we? Teamsters!
Well, the union says they've been trying to set up another meeting, but they've heard nothing except that they're not available. So as for right now, the wheels on this bus will not go round and round. Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
We are still waiting to hear back from Durham School Services for a statement. And it's been nearly 1 year since Eagle River man Tony Kronos went missing. He was last seen March 6th of last year. Family members who went to his house to check on him said they found the back door kicked in and Kronos' cell phone and wallet still inside. Speculation and a wave of varied emotions have swirled since. Rebecca Paulsha takes a look at what happened.
We've driven by. My parents have been there. They said it wasn't particularly disturbed, but the back door had been kicked in. So that was concerning enough for us to take this seriously enough to call the police.
What happened inside this home? We haven't been told what clues were found here last year when Tony Kronos disappeared March the 6th.
So you haven't received any tips that you know of?
Zero.
Zero.
Zero tips.
Why do you think that is?
Whoever did this did a good job, would be my guess.
Many of his friends think Kronos was murdered and blamed the police officer who lives behind Kronos. Tensions escalated to the point the Anchorage police officer, Chris Sternhagen, told a judge in August that Mobley and friends had been harassing him for months.
Threats of physical violence, sexual assaults, prison rape, what have you, that he has already used. He then got on a campaign where he had his friends start harassing my business.
We're all just in the dark wondering what happened to Tony.
A year later, that question still hasn't been answered.
The FBI is accepting information and tips via this number, 907-276-441. That's 907-276-441. If you have any information that could help, you are encouraged to call that number. And Todd Meadows, the newest member on Deadliest Catch, has died. While filming the Discovery series, Jace Bertrand spoke with Meadows' family to learn about his passion for fishing and his experiences crabbing in the Bering Strait.
He didn't play with Tonka trucks or Legos. Todd had fishing poles.
Todd Meadows was born to be outdoors.
Todd got involved with fishing with me probably from the time he was 3. He was barely walking. It's been a passion of his whole life.
Meadows' parents, Lucas and Angela, say their son spent several years working on a charter fishing boat in northern Washington, near where he grew up.
He had a smile on his face the whole time. Good day, bad day, didn't matter. He always had a smile. He loved to fish and loved to watch other people fish.
He wanted to own a boat one day and be the captain. I mean, that was his ultimate dream. When he sets his mind to something, I mean, he just doesn't give up.
The rookie deckhand worked on the Aleutian Lady, a crab boat being filmed for the Deadliest Catch TV series. But his parents say the lights and cameras were never of interest.
They would have to stop everything they were doing, refilm stuff just for the show, which really irritated him. He just wanted to work.
The details of Meadows' death have not been released to the public at the time. But his captain, Rick Shelford, made an announcement Monday in a post to his Facebook, saying, quote, February 25th, 2026 was the most tragic day in the history of the Aleutian Lady on the Bering Sea. Todd will forever be a part of this boat, crew, and this brotherhood. Though we lost him far too soon, his legacy will live on through his children and in every memory we carry of him. In the weeks since, Meadows' family has been working to preserve his legacy.
It never mattered what anybody had to say about him, good or bad. He wasn't out there to make friends. He wasn't out there to click with people. He was just out there to work and to do what he loved.
He was 25 at the time of his death. Jace Bertrand, Alaska's news source.
And as the April election nears, the talk Monday at the Anchorage Chamber of Commerce luncheon was all about the bonds that Anchorage voters will see on the ballot. Mayor Suzanne LaFrance and School District Superintendent Jared Bryant spoke at the meeting. At $79 million, the school district bond is the biggest on the ballot. The school district bond is the biggest on the ballot. There's also a one-time special tax levy proposed by the mayor to help offset ASD's $90 million budget deficit.
The cuts the school district is facing are devastating to our community. No one wants to be in this situation. No one wants this for our kids. No one wants this for parents. No one wants this for educators. And as business leaders, you know this is bad for our economy.
The superintendent says passing the special levy would allow the district to rehire at least 80 teachers, as well as allow class sizes to increase by 2 students instead of by 4. And needed improvement or Puppy Palace replacement animal shelter for the Fairbanks North Star Borough continues to gain traction, as some argue it's a waste of money. In February, the Borough Assembly voted 7-2 to make the project's $33 million budget available this year. The borough put out a bidding opportunity for construction on Friday. Millions of dollars have already been spent scoping, designing, and buying land for the new building along the old Richardson Highway near South Cushman Street. Supporters say the new shelter is necessary for the borough and will be better for animals' health, while opponents say the price tag is just too high. Some people are calling the planned facility an unnecessary puppy palace.
To make a priority of $33 million going into an animal shelter when we have other buildings that are empty and, from my understanding, could have possibly been utilized. It really is not a proper way of us using taxpayers' money.
That is not a luxury. That is not an extra bonus or gold-plated toilets or expensive hammers. Those are the things you need to keep an animal healthy and a shelter running in a way that this community has come to want.
The bidding period ends April 7th. Between $27 and $28 million are budgeted for the construction.
All dealing with the issue of Arctic infrastructure and having the build out of the Arctic.
Apologies, that started a little too early. But Senator Dan Sullivan was in Anchorage over the weekend for a field committee hearing on Arctic security. Augusta McDonald tells us the panel discussed new projects and the future of our national security, with Alaska playing a significant role due to our location.
All dealing with the issue of Arctic infrastructure and having the build out of the Arctic that can support our military integrated together in Alaska. We're doing it, right? This is the biggest buildup of our military and infrastructure since World War II.
Sullivan says joint Russian and Chinese incursions are increasing.
The green are joint Russian-Chinese strategic bomber or naval task force operations. That's not happening anywhere else in America, only in Alaska.
Port Director of Nome, Joey Baker, testified on the importance of the Deep Draft Port project currently underway.
The Arctic Deep Draft Port project in Nome is designed to serve as the critical refueling and resupply facility in the U.S. Arctic for U.S. Navy and Coast Guard vessels. Without this vital maritime infrastructure, U.S. national security operations in the Arctic will be constrained, and the U.S. will fall further behind Russia and China, who are operating in the region with increasing persistence.
Retired Air Force General Joe Ralston, who served in high-ranking roles across European Command, said it's time military presence in ADAC is reestablished.
The U.S. must invest in infrastructure that supports a credible U.S. presence and strategic deterrence in the Arctic. In my opinion, this requires reopening Naval Air Facility ADAC and establishing a deepwater port in Nome.
A need for increased U.S. Coast Guard resources was also discussed as the Coast Guard explores home porting several more icebreakers in Alaska.
And Anchorage firefighters at Station 12 have a new reason to celebrate. They officially welcomed a brand new ladder truck into the fleet.
Okay, come on in! Okay, let's go, man! Are you kidding me?
The public was invited to the ceremony and helped get the truck into its new home with a traditional push-in ceremony. A nod to the days of horse-drawn carriages, the $1.6 million rig was ordered back in 2022 and is packed with modern technology, including a 100-foot telescoping ladder and remote control capabilities. And we are going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about the midterms, especially we'll be diving into the Texas primary midterms. We'll be talking about the U.S. and Iran. We'll be talking about a fatal road rage incident that resulted in many injuries and a mass shooting in Austin. So stick with us because we have those stories and more coming up. Welcome back in, and thank you for sticking with us. President Trump says it could take longer than a month to end Operation Epic Fury, though he claims it's ahead of schedule to reach its goals. But the death toll of American service members is growing. The administration briefed top congressional leaders on Monday on the attacks, and today all of Congress will get a briefing. As Alice Barr reports, these military operations have also stranded Americans in combat zones.
Middle East is intensifying. The U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, struck by drones. A Saudi official tells NBC News no one was injured. Now several U.S. embassies across the region are closing, ordering non-emergency personnel to leave, though thousands of flights are canceled, stranding American travelers.
All of a sudden, we're in the middle of a war zone.
Americans abroad and at home wondering how long the U.S.-Israeli military campaign against Iran will last.
We projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that.
This is not Iraq.
This is not endless.
Now, in a new war powers notification to Congress, President Trump saying it's not possible to know the full scope and duration of the operation. Trump officials set to brief all of Congress today, as some leading Democrats who got early briefings argue Iran did not pose an imminent threat to the U.S.
There was a threat to Israel. But if we equate a threat to Israel as the equivalent of an imminent threat to the United States, then we are in uncharted territory.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying the administration knew Israel was preparing to strike Iran, and the U.S. acted first to prevent a chain reaction.
There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us.
With now 6 American service members confirmed dead as Iran strikes back. The president vowing to destroy Iran's missile capabilities and navy, ensure they can never get a nuclear weapon and can no longer arm terrorists. Secretary Rubio also said the hardest hits against Iran are yet to come, as a bipartisan group of lawmakers is pushing to force a vote this week to limit the president's war powers without congressional approval. House Speaker Mike Johnson called that dangerous and predicted the vote would fail. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And the primary election season is kicking off today, or not today, it's kicking off in Texas with some major races that could signal what's to come for the upcoming midterms. And particular attention is being paid to the candidates running for the U.S. Senate seat in the Lone Star State. Alaska's News Source's Washington correspondent Stetson Miller has more from Austin.
Primary election day is about to get underway here in Texas, a state that appears to be setting the tone for the 2026 midterm election cycle, and one that both parties are focusing on fiercely.
Tuesday, voters will pick their candidates for Texas's 38 House seats and a Senate seat that will likely be one of the most closely watched races of the year.
There's marquee matchups on both the Democratic and Republican side for U.S. Senate here.
Despite the fact that the state has kicked off a rare nationwide redistricting fight for the congressional seats, much of the election's focus has shifted to the Republican and Democratic Senate primaries. On the left, Democratic State Representative James Tallarico is up against Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, both vying to turn the red seat blue for the first time in decades.
To those who love democracy, to those who love our neighbors, it's time to start flipping tables.
They need to understand that we are only rising. They need to understand that we are going back to our roots.
On the right, incumbent Senator John Cornyn is facing off against Attorney General Ken Paxton and Congressman Wesley Hunt.
The fight isn't over. The work isn't done.
Ken Paxton is running for Senate to stand with President Trump.
This is our moment to end the status quo.
But what's missing for the Republicans? Donald Trump putting his thumb on the scale with an endorsement.
We have a great Attorney General, Ken Paxton, and we have a great Senator, John Cornyn. They're in a little race together, you know that, right?
A runoff is expected between long-serving Senator Cornyn and Attorney General Paxton, who's faced accusations of corruption and is going through a messy divorce. And experts say the outcome may lead to an expensive race for the GOP in the fall and a closer shot at the seat for Democrats. In Austin, I'm Stetson Miller.
A woman and a dog are dead after what Virginia police say might be road rage followed by stabbing incidents. They say other victims are injured and that troopers shot the suspect in self-defense. Alex Wainwright has details and reaction from people who live nearby.
It started out as a property damage crash, and now he's stabbing people with a knife.
Scanner Audio offering some insight into Sunday's deadly road rage incident on Interstate 495 in Fairfax County. At around 1:15 Sunday afternoon, Virginia State Police say a state trooper responded to multiple calls about an incident near Gallows Road in Annandale, Virginia.
VSP just announced shots fired.
Police say at some point a man carrying a knife confronted the trooper, and that's when the officer shot the man. Virginia State Police say the trooper opened fire in self-defense. The man later died at the hospital. One witness who doesn't want to be on camera says she saw several officers with their guns drawn on someone in the middle of 495. She says it looked like something out of a movie.
Very chaos. Crazy people out here.
4 people were stabbed according to investigators. One of the victims, a 39-year-old woman who died from her injuries. A dog was also stabbed and killed.
all this, it's pretty scary.
Neighbors who live nearby say it's alarming to see something like this escalate so quickly.
Hearing that, especially stabbing, like there's a lot of car accidents here, but stabbing is like...
That sort of stuff doesn't really happen around here, so it's kind of surprising.
Investigators say the stabbings happened after a crash on Interstate 495 southbound. One driver who was on the interstate shared this video showing what he believes is the aftermath of the crash. Several lanes were closed for hours.
It's bad. I mean, it closes the Beltway on a Sunday evening. This is horrible.
Officials say the woman was 39 years old. The condition of the other victims is unclear. In Texas, law enforcement officials, including local police and FBI agents, searched a home believed to be connected to a gunman. Jose Alonso has the details. And this is in regards to the Austin mass shooting.
This scene involving ATF and SWAT agents lasted a little more than 4 hours along Kickapoo Cavern Drive in Pflugerville. KVUE News has learned this home is connected to the West 6th Street shooting suspect, who Austin police have identified as this 53-year-old man in this photo.
Kickapoo Cavern Drive. Come out the front door with your hands up and empty.
The commotion caught on camera by Priscilla Rodriguez. It was an alarming scene that caught Sirida Chamote and her family off guard. They live across the street from the suspect's home.
Suddenly there were announcements and warnings in the morning, and we were like out and we saw these police officers, so many cars, and then so we were really scared for some time. They were just asking whoever is in the house, please come out. If you don't come out, we don't guarantee your safety.
Officials are looking closely at this white car with a broken window, questioning people and taking boxes of unidentified items into their units. Chamota says this is a quiet community that hasn't seen anything like this in the past few years she's been here, and was at a loss for words finding out this investigation is connected to the downtown Austin shooting.
I'm still not able to digest something happening in my neighborhood right in front of my house. Honestly, I'm still processing it.
And there's a battle underway in Congress over who should be responsible for hundreds of workers facing a deadly disease due to their work cutting trendy kitchen and bath countertops. Legislators are hearing from countertop slab manufacturers who say their product is safe, and health experts who say that man-made product called engineering stone simply can't be fabricated safely enough to protect workers. So who's to blame? Senior investigative reporter Anna Werner takes us inside the battle over a product used in homes all over the country and introduces us to one of those workers who is gravely ill.
This scene involving ATF and SWAT.
It's the night Rodolfo Figueroa's family thought might never happen.
Breathe.
On November 20th, he made it home from the hospital, where his wife Anna was able to hug him. 2 weeks earlier, his daughter Jennifer had to rush him to the emergency room. His oxygen had dropped so low he couldn't breathe. There, doctors told her her father would need a lung transplant to save his life.
I can't picture our family gatherings without him.
Tell me about the pain.
Oh, I lived something very terrible. I mean, very bad.
Figueroa's job was making countertops. 4 decades ago, he began cutting them from natural stones like marble, and then later, a man-made product called engineered or artificial stone. Engineered stone is made from crushed quartz mixed with resins and polymers. The problem? Government reports show that man-made stone is much higher in silica, as high as 90%, higher than in natural stones like marble and granite. And health professionals say breathing in tiny, nano-sized particles of silica that go deep into the lungs can cause an incurable disease, silicosis. Engineered stone countertops are fabricated in shops all over the country, but California is the only state actually tracking silicosis cases. Its data alone shows the number of workers there with silicosis has now climbed to over 500, nearly all of them Latino men. Already, 29 of them have died. Engineered stone slab manufacturers are now facing hundreds of lawsuits over those illnesses and deaths, including from Figueroa. In court, major manufacturers have denied responsibility, but at the same time, they're trying to end all the lawsuits through the U.S. Congress.
The committee will come to order.
They want Congress to pass a bill that would get them out of any legal responsibility for any worker illnesses or deaths.
When I was told about this legislation, I was outraged.
David Michaels, who was Assistant Secretary at OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, for 8 years, testified at that hearing.
Instead of saying, let's figure out how to make sure these workers are safe, they said, take us off the hook, give us a free pass.
Rebecca Schultz, Chief Legal Officer for U.S.-based engineered stone slab manufacturer Cambria, defended the bill.
The lawsuits are overwhelming good companies throughout our industry.
Schultz says Cambria uses products including wet cutting to keep its workers safe, and says small fabrication shops cutting theirs and other stone products need to follow those practices too.
It's outrageous that these American sweatshops are not being shut down.
But Georgia Tech research scientist Dr. Jenny Holroyd says when it comes to the hundreds of small shops around the country,
it's incredibly hard to guarantee that these workers are protected from this exposure.
Holroyd has been working with local fabrication shops in Georgia for more than 20 years, showing them how to keep respirable crystalline silica in the air below OSHA's legal limit, 50 micrograms per cubic meter, averaged over an 8-hour workday. Put it this way, in a 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter box of air, the limit is a dust mass so small it's roughly the amount that would cover President Lincoln's forehead on a penny. Anything higher over that workday is considered too much.
It's virtually impossible to control the exposures.
We saw problems for ourselves in California. Despite the state temporarily shutting down some shops on this street for violations in 2024, when we went back to check in November, we saw workers still using unsafe practices. Holroyd, who has testified in cases on behalf of some workers, estimates 20 to 30,000 workers may develop silicosis. At the hearing, the industry said,
selling stone slabs does not cause silicosis.
They say it's up to small shops themselves, along with the government, to deal with bad actors. But Michaels says,
it's everybody's responsibility in the entire supply chain to make sure things are safe. If you make a product that's going to be used unsafely, you have a responsibility too.
Figueroa says he knew nothing about the bill being debated in Congress. But when we asked,
what do you think the companies think of the workers?
I don't think they don't think about us.
It's a natural process that just about every woman will go through. Menopause can lead to hot flashes, night sweats, loss of bladder control, fatigue, sleep disruption.
Apologies for that. The correct video did not play, but we'll try to get that in for you guys as soon as we can. And March is Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. MS is a chronic, often disabling autoimmune disease that impacts the central nervous system. And since a majority of the estimated 1 million Americans with the disorder are women, many patients may be getting a double whammy of symptoms. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither explains how menopause can mimic MS and why doctors say knowing which is to blame for a certain symptom can help bring relief to women who have both.
It's a natural process that just about every woman will go through. Menopause can lead to hot flashes, night sweats, loss of bladder control, fatigue, sleep disruptions, mood changes, and memory problems. And for a woman who also has multiple sclerosis, these symptoms can overlap.
It's really difficult for many patients and providers to parse out which symptoms are due to which process.
Dr. Elise Carlson, a neurologist with Cleveland Clinic, says lower estrogen at menopause may contribute to the wearing down of the nervous system and changes in immune responses. So for MS patients going through menopause, it can be a double whammy.
And these symptoms can kind of feed off of each other, right? So if we're not addressing these things from one end or the other, they can make the symptoms worse.
That's why Carlson says it's important to talk to a doctor about those symptoms, because if the ones associated with menopause aren't treated, it can worsen already existing MS symptoms.
If these things aren't addressed, it can cause a lot of problems for many women, and be very disruptive to their daily function and quality of life.
Carlson says doctors can help figure out if it's menopause or MS to blame and discuss what treatments can help bring some relief. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Okay, that video that we promised you earlier is here. Here is Josiah Pike and our reporter, Alaska News Source correspondent, who are talking about the deadly dust, the marble slabs that from the story that you just heard. This is them discussing that and going more into details on that.
So Australia banned engineered stone, and California's Standards Board is considering a proposal ban there as well. However, manufacturers say a ban won't work. They say that what's needed is additional government enforcement and possibly certification of shops.
Right now, Anna, you said California is tracking cases. What would you say that the numbers show there, and what do experts think that could mean nationwide?
Yeah, so California is the only state that is tracking these cases, and yet they have more than 500 that they have identified, workers with silicosis, 54 lung transplants, 29 workers who have died. That's in the past several years. And so the issue is that in states around the country, we have these small fabrication shops in every state. However, they are not tracking the cases. Experts we spoke to say there could be as many as 20 to 30,000 cases around the country, many of which right now are probably going undiagnosed.
Right now, Anna, in this story, you look at what's happening in Congress. Now, what's the division here between manufacturers and industry groups and health experts?
So what's happening is the manufacturers are backing a bill in Congress that would literally get them out of any liability for worker illnesses and deaths by basically preventing workers from suing them. This would be a very unusual thing. There are very few industries that have anything like this, but this is what they're trying to get through Congress. Public health experts are saying that that's a horrible idea. They believe that manufacturers bear responsibility and should bear liability because they put this product into the stream of commerce and they know that it's going to be fabricated. Manufacturers say, hey, we're not doing the fabricating. We put the product out and it's safe when we send it to them, and they need to take the responsibility for how it's being manufactured or fabricated. But public health experts say that the measures that would be put in place are never going to be enough to protect these workers because they can't protect themselves 100% of the time like they would need to.
Right now, Anna, you said the industry says some shops control the dust with wet cutting, ventilation, and monitoring. Now, you went and visited some shops. What did you see?
So yeah, the industry says, look, if they put these measures into place properly, that they can protect workers. And that may be true if they're put into place properly. But as those health experts have said, they said, look, to get this to happen nationwide in all of these small shops all the time, in their view, isn't realistic. And they don't believe workers can be protected, which is why health authorities in California are calling for a ban, which California is now considering.
Right now, you spoke with a researcher who says it may be virtually impossible to control exposures consistently. Now, what's behind that claim?
Well, you know, there's the layers that you have to use to protect workers include respiratory protection, wet cutting, air monitoring. It's a host of measures. And the experts we talked to said you have to follow all of those measures in all of these shops each and every time they cut the product. And one of the experts we interviewed said that she's never actually seen a shop be able to be in compliance 100% of the time. Sometimes they can get close, but they can never do it all the time. And therein, according to these health experts, lies the risk that you're always going to have some workers exposed.
All right, finally, as lawsuits build, what exactly are engineered stone manufacturers and selling asking Congress to do, and what does that mean for sick workers and families seeking accountability?
So essentially what they're saying is we want to have it so that workers are not allowed to sue manufacturers and sellers of stone slab products. That would mean that workers who feel that the product caused their illness and want to sue the manufacturers and get their injuries and deaths of family members paid for would no longer be able to do that. They would not be able to sue the manufacturers, and that would be very unusual. There's only a few industries that have exemptions from lawsuits, among them the gun industry, the vaccine industry, and companies that make products for the Department of Defense, pretty much, and that's about it. So this would be a very unusual thing if it were to pass.
All right, senior investigative reporter Anna Werner telling us a little bit about her story, Deadly Dust Liability. Anna, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.
And we're going to take a very short break after this. When we come back, we'll be talking about rectal cancer rates, what that looks like, what the statistics are, and we'll be talking about social media, how certain families, or many families actually, are being asked whether social media should be banned for kids under the age of 16. So we'll jump into those stories when we come back from this short break. Welcome back in, and thank you for joining us this morning. New research from the American Cancer Society adds to a troubling trend. Rates of rectal cancer are rising as more young people are diagnosed with the disease. Bradley Blackburn spoke with one survivor about the early warning signs.
About a decade ago, Jessica Catlin was a yoga-practicing, healthy 38-year-old when she knew something was wrong with her body.
I just thought it was because I was stressed. I'm, a very busy working professional, and I just kind of ignored it.
But after noticing blood in her stool for months, she visited 3 different doctors who all said the same thing.
You're too young for colon cancer.
But she was not. A colonoscopy discovered stage 3 rectal cancer. Surviving meant undergoing disruptive treatment, including chemo, radiation, surgery, and a temporary ostomy pouch for waste.
My body was changed drastically throughout the course of treatment that I still have to cope with to this day.
According to the American Cancer Society, rates of rectal cancer climbed by 1% annually from 2019 to 2022 after decades of decline. Rectal cancer now accounts for about 1/3 of colorectal cancer diagnoses.
We're not completely sure why that is.
Dr. Arif Kamal with the American Cancer Society says guidelines now call for screening to start at age 45 and even earlier if a patient has risk factors like family history or symptoms like bleeding, bowel changes, or unexplained weight loss.
Not only are we seeing more in people under the age of 50. We're seeing that they're more deadly and they are being caught very late.
It saved my life, honestly.
Catlin wants everyone to know the signs and push for screening.
What is your message to young people out there who might be worried that something's wrong?
Ask your doctor for a test. Help us end the stigma against this very preventable, incurable disease.
Colorectal cancers are treatable. She's living proof. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
In addition to family history, known risk factors for colorectal cancer include being overweight and diets heavy in processed meats. And families in Britain are being asked whether social media should be banned for kids under the age of 16. Lawmakers have launched a public consultation as they consider following Australia's lead. Alternatives being discussed include an overnight curfew on social networks and restricting access to AI chatbots. But some parents feel it's too late to ask for input. Ruth Moss's daughter Sophie died by suicide 12 years ago after viewing harmful material.
I think the difference then was we didn't have all the academic research that shows that social media is damaging for young minds, but we do now. So now is the time to act, in my view.
Australia says nearly 5 million accounts were shut down when it cut social media for children under 16 in December, but some evidence shows children simply turned to other platforms like Roblox and Discord, which were not included in the ban. And if you've been on social media at all, the past few days, odds are you've probably seen at least a mention of the Jim Carrey clone conspiracy theory going around, and whether you believe it or not, the actor himself has broken his silence on it. Jim Carrey himself saying the conspiracy theorists are wrong. He is not a clone, and a lookalike that recently claimed they accepted an award on his behalf did no such thing. The award show themselves also state that it was Jim Carrey himself on the stage that night. And we're going to take another very short break, our last one for this Morning Edition Extra. When we come back, we'll be talking Iditarod, Iron Dog. We'll be talking about the ultimate comfort food showdown. And we'll be talking about free Italian ice. We have butterbeer cookies coming up. We have a whole bunch of really fun stories coming up. So stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Morning Edition Extra this Tuesday morning. We're less than a week out from Iditarod now, but before the big kids get to go at it, we got a chance to crown a winner among the next generation of mushing greats. And it's a familiar surname, Stanley Robinson, brother of Emily Robinson, who won the last 4 junior Iditarod races coming into this one. She's aged out just as her brother ages in, and the 14-year-old wins it as a rookie to keep the trophy with the Robinsons. The Nenana musher winning the race in 23 hours and 40 minutes. And it's a title they're used to having at this point. First place finishers in the Iron Dog Snow Machine race. And once again, our athletes of the week have found themselves in the winner's circle. Tyler Lane tells us more.
3, 2, 1.
What started on the ice of Big Lake and passed through golden yet icy shores of Nome has reached a stopping point in Fairbanks.
Long overdue. It's been a long week.
Team 7, the dominant duo of Tyler Ackelstad and Nick Olstad, champions of the Iron Dog once again.
It feels good to be here, and it feels good to be here first.
The pair arriving at the Pikes Lodge in one piece after over 51 hours combined on course.
Got a heat pack around it. It's not too bad.
For the most part.
It's a little white.
Frostbite aside, the win puts the two in pretty good company. The 42nd edition of the race was their 4th win together all time. One they attribute to solid preparation.
When you talk about being a veteran and us running it 20 plus years, there's things that you learn far beyond just the trail things. It's how to run the race. And I think Nick and I both have a very good understanding of that. And that's our plan going into it. And this year we stuck to our plan and exactly what we were going to do, and it worked out well.
A victory they'll remember for quite some time.
This one's going to have many of its own stories, but it's amazing and it's great to be here.
Tyler Lane, Alaska's news source.
Dogs, kids, and unlimited mac and cheese. An event next weekend in Cleveland combines all three. Tessa DiDiro has the preview.
If you've been saving up your calories, the Mac and Cheese Throwdown is the place to spend them.
Is it really unlimited? And the answer is yes. This is not a tasting. This is not a flight.
15 local chefs will serve up their best take on the classic comfort food. I talked with Ninja City Kitchen a few years back about its mac, and its chef will compete again this year.
The rookies that are joining in are people we've been begging to join for years. So Grumpy's is coming in with their breakfast mac. It's going to be really cool. It's hash browns with mac and cheese and bacon. Irie Jamaican, for anybody that's ever actually gone on vacation in Jamaica, are they not? I mean, that man absolutely brought Jamaica to Cleveland. It's ridiculous. So no, I tend to like fast a little bit before the event. If you're getting ready for fest season in Cleveland, this is it. You're going to have your small business merchants. You're going to have Cleveland's music scene in the building.
Ticket proceeds support dogs like Poe, a service dog trained by Wags for Kids. A dog like Poe can help kids with mobility, autism, and mental health services.
All the kids are here in local. So there's probably somebody down the street or a friend of a friend whose kid is directly going to benefit from what's happening in that room. Well, in a little less than a week.
The 10th annual Mac and Cheese Throwdown will be Saturday, March 7th. And an 8-year-old in Pennsylvania is striving to gather cereal boxes for kids in need as the family starts a program to support students suffering from food insecurity. Here is Megan Schiller with more.
His hockey stick in hand, taking shots on his basement net. 8-year-old Xander O'Brien says you can't score goals without a good breakfast.
Like Lucky Charms.
What do you like about Lucky Charms?
The marshmallows.
The boxes keep on coming. Fruity Pebbles, Rice Crisps, Apple Jacks.
How many do you think you got?
I think we need 300, but we have 196.
Last year, Xander collected a pretty good amount.
125.
But this year, it's a full-court cereal press.
We go to the store and buy some of them like at a time. And we wanted to get more as last time.
Xander's mom, Sarah O'Brien, realizes she's sneaking in a life lesson here.
You want your children to learn when they're younger that not everyone has what they have.
Enter the Bag Brigade. She discovered it a few years back and started packing bags on Tuesday nights for food insecure kids in the Bell Vernon School District. Then Xander and his little brother started tagging along too.
You know, when he feels okay in an environment, he thrives. And he loves to go there because he loves to pack bags because, number one, you get to walk in a circle, so it's like you're trick-or-treating.
Kathy Kelly welcomes volunteers of all ages. She co-founded the Bag Brigade 10 years ago out of the Gospel Alliance Church, and every year the need keeps growing.
When COVID hit, right after that, we really realized that we need to really be doing this year-round.
Now volunteers like the O'Briens pack bags for 242 little ones.
We started in one school, an elementary school with about 19, 20 bags, and that quickly grew to all 4 schools, including the high school. And during COVID, we packed almost in that first week, 900 bags.
A school year food program that grew to a lifeline for these kids.
Anything that is shelf sustainable, right? And something that the kids probably can fix themselves. We have kids in kindergarten who are living with grandma who really can't get up or is not mobile. How do we get that child to eat food?
And they're always in need of donations.
Mac and cheese cups, right? Peanut butter, soup, the ramen noodles, that's a great thing for them. Slim Jims, pudding cups, applesauce. You know, you think of anything that's just a single serving that a kid can just open the lid and eat it, that's what we're giving them.
And these big cereal boxes won't just keep kids fed during the summer weeks.
We only give single serving during the week, okay? But these big boxes, there's a reason for that. We do a domino drop.
That's right, a massive feat of physics that fills the school hallways with cheers.
And like I said, the videos don't do it justice because last year he got to tip the first box up at Ross Traver Elementary, and that's like a big to-do miss. Super celebrity.
It's a life highlight for Xander.
Last time we did a dominoes that we pushed cereal all the way down. That was the one that I did.
You got to push the first one?
Yeah.
What was that like? Awesome.
Yeah.
So the more boxes, the better the domino drop. Xander's hoping to crush his goal of 300 boxes.
He's starting to, in his mind, for an 8-year-old, grasp like what he can do. Like, oh, if I can do this, well, there's really nothing else that I can't do.
For some millions of fans, spring doesn't officially begin until a Rita's Italian Ice is in hand, and that's according to Rita Italian Ice themselves. This year, as one of the season's most iconic first signs of spring, the Peeps brand joins in, and they're offering free Italian Ice giveaway and the debut of the mystery Peeps Italian flavor. So Rita's Ice and Frozen Custard will celebrate the first day of spring with free 6-ounce Italian ice, and the giveaway is available to guests at 600 plus locations nationwide. Rita's expects to serve approximately 1 million cups of its signature Italian ice during the annual spring tradition. And since spring is just around the corner, that means so is Free Cone Day, which, if you're a Dairy Queen fan, it might be one of the happiest days of the year for you. So on March 19th, the day before the start of spring, the Dairy Queen Corporation is welcoming warmer weather with a return of the tradition that invites everyone to celebrate the vanilla soft serve cones. So the DQ is welcoming fans with free ice cream cones with free cones, and they say sometimes the simple things in life make us the happiest, like a free vanilla soft serve cone. Now I do like soft serve cones, so this is something that I am a little bit excited about, but I do enjoy a sweet treat. And now Harry Potter fans have something sweet to look forward to as well. Keebler, the company whose elves make fudge stripe cookies, has re-released the limited edition Butterbeer Fudge Stripes cookies. And I am a Harry Potter girl, so this is very exciting for me. I love the flavor of butterbeer. I've gone to Universal Studios and I've had the butterbeer there. So it's very delicious, very sweet. And if you haven't had it, I would describe it as like a smooth, sweet cream, sort of like buttery, sweet sort of drink. That's very smooth. So the release is timed to mark 25 years since the first Harry Potter film was released. And according to a press release from Keebler, quote, the limited time release is a celebratory take on the popular wizarding beverage with Keebler's limited edition Harry Potter Butterbeer Fudge Stripes cookies, featuring a butterbeer flavored cookie and fudge that captures the sweet, frothy combination of the cream soda and butterscotch. And that is a very good way of describing butterbeer. It is like a cream soda with some butterscotch in it, very smooth, and some whipped cream on top. So yummy. And Starbucks has unveiled their spring menu they did it on Monday, yesterday, with a variety of new and returning flavors, including coconut, mango, ube, and lavender. Starting on March 3rd, customers can order a reimagined chai, an iced ube coconut macchiato, or a toasted coconut cream cold brew. A fan favorite flavor, lavender, also returns and can be ordered as an iced lavender cream chai, a lavender latte, or a lavender cream frappuccino. Those are definitely sounding yummy to me, especially that I love a good frappuccino, and I love that iced ube coconut macchiato. Sounds very interesting to me. I've never had ube the ube flavor in like a coffee, so it might be interesting to try. And that wraps up the Morning Edition Extra for this Tuesday morning. Thank you so much for joining us this Tuesday morning on Alaska's News Source for the Morning Edition Extra. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you again at noon for the latest in news, weather, and more. Have a good one.